Here's a question that should bother you. The last time a human being left the safety of Earth's orbit was 1972. 1972. That's over 50 years, half a century. Your parents might not have even been born yet. We went to the moon 6 times. 6! And then we just stopped. No one went back. No one even got close. For 50 years, every human being who traveled to space stayed right here in low Earth orbit, close enough that you could theoretically see the International Space Station from your backyard on a clear night. And then, on April 1st, 2026, that changed. NASA's Artemis II mission. 4 astronauts, 1 spacecraft called Orion, nicknamed Integrity by its crew, and a mission that was 50 years in the making. Let me introduce you to the 4 people who just made history. Reed Wiseman, commander, Navy test pilot, the kind of guy who's been training for this his entire life. His wife, Carol Taylor Wiseman, passed away in 2020. She never got to see this launch. Victor Glover, pilot, the first black astronaut to spend an extended mission aboard the ISS. Quiet, methodical, brilliant. Christina Koch, mission specialist, holds the record for the longest single spaceflight by a woman, 328 consecutive days in space. She's been here before, but never this far. Jeremy Hansen, mission specialist, Canadian Space Agency. This was his first spaceflight ever, his first time in space, and he went all the way to the moon. These 4 people trained together for 3 years. 3 years of simulations, emergency drills, suit fittings, mission briefings. They knew each other better than most families. And now the question, why go back now? Why after 50 years? After Apollo, space budgets got cut. The Cold War space race with the Soviet Union was effectively over. Congress asked the question that politicians always ask, why are we spending this money? And NASA had no good answer that would get votes. So for decades, humans circled Earth, 250 miles up, safe, predictable, boring in cosmic terms. Artemis changes that. The plan isn't just to visit the moon once and plant a flag for a photo op. It's to go back, stay, build infrastructure, and use the moon as a stepping stone to Mars. Artemis II was the critical test flight. No landing on this mission. The goal was to take 4 humans, fly them around the moon, and bring them home safely. Prove the spacecraft works, prove the systems work, prove that humans can survive the journey. Everything that comes next, every Mars mission, every moon base, every future you've ever imagined in space, it all depended on this. April 1st, 2026, 6:35 p.m. Eastern Time. The NASA Space Launch System, NASA's most powerful rocket ever built, lit its engines at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. And for the first time since the Apollo era, humans were leaving Earth's gravity well. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station, orbiting 250 miles above, watched it happen in real time. For the next 10 days, Wiseman, Glover, Koch, and Hansen would travel a total of 695,000 miles. 695,000 miles! For context, the circumference of Earth is about 25,000 miles. These 4 people traveled the equivalent of going around our planet 28 times. The first few days were about testing, systems checks, life support, navigation, making sure Orion worked exactly as designed. But even during the routine stuff, the sheer reality of where they were kept hitting the crew. Jeremy Hansen, speaking to reporters from inside the capsule on day 3, described looking out the window. Right away, you are humbled. The fact that 4 of us get to be out here just brings you to your knees. He paused, then added, I know those photos are amazing, but let me assure you, it is another level of amazing up here. Then came a moment that was very human. Halfway to the moon, the crew reported a burning smell from the toilet. On Earth, that's a mild inconvenience. 250,000 miles from home, with no hardware store and no plumber on call. That's a different situation entirely. The crew fixed it themselves. NASA confirmed everything was fine. The mission continued. But the moment reminded everyone watching, these 4 people were on their own out there. Every problem they encountered had to be solved by them with what they had. No rescue mission, no second chances. The crew reportedly ate maple cream cookies later in the mission, a small, quiet act of humanity 250,000 miles from home. April 6th, 2026, day 6 of the mission. 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time. The lunar flyby began. For 7 hours, the Orion spacecraft swung around the moon, At its closest, the crew passed within 4,067 miles of the lunar surface. At their farthest point from Earth, they reached 252,756 miles away, breaking the record set by Apollo 13 in 1970 by over 4,000 miles. They were farther from home than any humans had ever been in the history of our species. And then, the communications blackout. For approximately 40 minutes, as Orion swung behind the moon, all contact with Earth was cut off. Mission control could not reach them. The crew could not reach Earth. They were completely, utterly alone on the far side of the moon. It was the longest communications blackout in human spaceflight history. No one on Earth knew in real time what they were seeing. What the crew saw during those 40 minutes, no human being had ever seen before. They observed the far side of the moon, the side that permanently faces away from Earth, the side that the Apollo astronauts, because of their specific orbital paths, could never fully view. They saw the Orion Basin, a 600-mile-wide crater, 3.8 billion years old, sometimes called the Grand Canyon of the Moon. Commander Wiseman described it. The annular ring from here is very circular in nature. The northern part is wider, darker. The southern part is much lighter. It is very neat-looking, far more circular than I remember it looking in our training. Then came something no human had ever witnessed. As the crew circled the far side of the moon passed directly between Orion and the sun, a total solar eclipse seen from beyond the moon. On Earth, a total solar eclipse lasts maybe 2 minutes. The crew of Artemis II experienced one that lasted nearly an hour. Astronaut Victor Glover, watching the corona form around the moon, just said, "This is unreal." The sun had gone behind the moon. The corona was glowing, a bright halo surrounding total darkness. Then, something nobody expected. Through that eclipse, the crew watched meteors strike the surface of the moon, tiny pinpricks of light like camera flashes, appearing and vanishing in milliseconds. Scientists back at Johnson Space Center heard the news and let out, in the words of NASA's lunar science lead Kelsey Young, audible screams of delight. They weren't supposed to see that. Nobody planned for that observation. It just happened. That's what it means to send human eyes somewhere new. And then, as the crew came around to the near side of the moon again, they saw Earth, not from low orbit, where it fills your window, not from the ISS, where it's always there, from 252,000 miles away. Earth was a crescent, a small glowing crescent above the moon's horizon. Jeremy Hansen tried to describe it. When we were on the far side of the moon looking back at Earth, you really felt like you weren't in a capsule. You'd been transported to the far side of the moon, and it really just bent your mind. It was an extraordinary human experience. During the flyby, the crew named 2 new craters. One they called Integrity, after their spacecraft. The second, Jeremy Hansen radioed to Mission Control, they wanted to call Carol. Named for Carol Taylor Wiseman, Commander Reed Wiseman's late wife, who died in 2020. A bright spot on the moon, visible from Earth on a clear night, now carries her name. Artemis II was never the destination. It was the proof of concept. Artemis III is the landing. For the first time since December 1972, human beings will stand on the surface of the moon. And unlike Apollo, which landed near the equator in a relatively flat area, Artemis III is targeting the lunar South Pole. Why the South Pole? Because scientists believe there is water ice there in the permanently shadowed craters, water that has been frozen for billions of years, water that can be split into hydrogen and oxygen, hydrogen for fuel, oxygen for air. In other words, the South Pole of the moon might be the gas station on the road to Mars. NASA's new moon base project, Gateway, is already in development, a permanent outpost in lunar orbit where astronauts can stage missions to the surface and eventually to deep space. The plan isn't to visit the moon. The plan is to live there and learn from the moon how to survive Mars. You might be watching this and thinking, okay, cool, 4 astronauts went around the moon. What does that actually change for me? Here's the honest answer. Probably nothing in the next 5 years. But here's what space programs have always done for Earth that people forget. The technology you use every single day, GPS, weather forecasting, water purification filters, the foam in your mattress, scratch-resistant lenses in your glasses, CAT scans, wireless headsets, all of it came from space program research. Not because NASA set out to invent those things, but because when you try to solve the hardest problems in the world, how do you keep 4 humans alive 252,000 miles away with no backup, no store, no hospital? You end up inventing things that change everything. And beyond the practical, there's something harder to measure but equally real. Every generation needs to believe that humanity is still capable of doing something extraordinary, that we're still moving forward, that the future is not just more of the same, endlessly. For 50 years, we didn't have that from space. We circled, we maintained, we survived. This week, for the first time in 50 years, we left.